Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Ask Brad. Sorry, it's been a while since I've done one of these. I was away on vacation, and then my nose looked like I'd been hit by a car, so it's finally starting to recover, and it's been a crazy month. But anyway, today our topic is what grit of sandpaper you should use for sanding your clear coat, and this is for sanding your clear coat so that you can polish it or so that you can add another coat if you need to. For starters, if I've got a coat of clear, or more likely about 3 coats of clear, and I'm going to go ahead and coat over that with more clear coat, I don't want to go too fine on the sandpaper with that. Really, you want something that's going to flatten it out a little bit, probably. That's not the main goal, though. The main goal is to scuff it up so that you can get adhesion for your next coats. And if you go too fine, you're not going to get the adhesion that you're looking for. You need something that next layer can grip onto. So what I go with generally is 800 grit. I've also seen people go as high as 1,000 or as low as 600 if they want to be a little more aggressive with the flattening aspect of it. But 800 is kind of what I learned as the standard for that. So that's what I use for when I need to recoat. Now, if you're going to be going through the polishing process, if you've already done all your coats, you're going to need several grits of sandpaper for that. And where you start is kind of going to depend on how smooth your finish is. If you've got a very, very smooth finish, then you can start finer, something like 1,000 grit or perhaps even 1,500. Really, your first sanding is simply to flatten things out. So if you've got a lot of orange peel, if you've got a lot of stuff you need to flatten out, maybe start a little more aggressive. I go as low as 600 for that sometimes to flatten it out. And then every time you up after that, the purpose is to take out the scratches from the previous grit so you're getting smoother and smoother. The reason you don't jump straight to a super high grit is because that makes it take a lot longer. So the fastest way to do it is to kind of work your way up. Again, for a paint job that needs a lot of leveling, I might go as rough as a 600 grit paper. For one that's quite smooth, looks really nice, laid out well, as high as a 1,500 grit to start. And then generally I will move up to a 2,500 or a 2,200 or something like that, 2,000 maybe if I'm doing it by hand. Or if I'm doing it with the orbital sander, if I'm in a situation where that's appropriate, I'll jump all the way to a 3,000 from the 1,500. And then, so 600 at the lowest end, and then up to about 1,500, and then 3,000. And then I like to finish off with 5,000. And by the time I've got it sanded with 5,000, it's incredibly smooth to the point where you can basically see a reflection in it. It's like a highly polished satin finish type thing. As far as sheen, and from there it's a relatively simple matter to polish it out because it's so fine. The rougher it is when you start polishing it, the lower the grit you go to, the more work it's going to be to polish it, the more you're going to have to go in there with that initial compound before you get to the fine finish stuff. So if you leave it at like 1,200 grit, yes, you can polish out a 1,200 grit sanding if you've got the right kind of polish, but it's going to be a little bit more labor intensive. I've always found it easier to just sand to a higher grit. So I hope that helps and clears things up a little bit. If you guys have questions, let me know. It doesn't always have to be sandpaper. There are like micro meshes and stuff that have the same kind of effect, and you can get up to incredibly high grits with those. Those work as well. So anything that's going to smooth out that finish and make it as smooth as possible is going to make it easier for you to polish it when the time comes to do that. Again, I hope this helped. If you have any questions, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching. See you next time.